Welcome to the Finding HAViK podcast. Jake and Dom here, and on this week's episode, we're talking to Zach Rhodes.
Yep, he has a really unique career, which I've never heard of, but we're going to learn in the episode why it's not really talked about as a career.
Yeah, he's a horse dentist. Dom's like trying to work around that a little bit right here.
Yeah, I was trying to tease it.
Yeah. The horse dentistry is actually a really interesting one because there's a big political background to this that Zach's been fighting really, really hard for in legislation.
Yeah, so he's been fighting it in Nevada, a couple other states. Got it passed in Utah, though. That's the good news we learned.
Yeah, he's got it's all about the small wins on this one. With that, he's also a big guy in rodeo, has a handful of events, has worked through injuries, come back from those, and is also working on his mental health.
Yep, and opening up that like rodeo men need to talk about their mental health too, and women, rodeo men and women.
It's becoming a little bit of a theme on our podcast, and I actually really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So hope you enjoy this podcast. Let's get into it.
They lost the tools, they lost the way. Now they're calling for help every damn day. While some still sharpen steel and mind, step out of the flock. This is Finding HAViK.
Sweet. All right. So Zach, thanks for jumping on the podcast with us.
Thanks for having me.
I thought that so you used to live really, really close, and now sounds like you're living in Oregon. And so when I first reached out to you, I was like, oh, we can get Zach on at any time. He's down the street. And I didn't even realize that you're not really in town anymore. So when did you move kind of up into the Oregon area?
I guess it was last year, about towards the end of the summer.
Oh, okay.
I started dating a girl up there, and she lives in Echo, which is just across the interstate from Hermiston. And I was rodeoing up there all summer long. I'm sure you can elaborate on this as well, but Columbia River Circuit is a really big circuit. There's a lot of rodeos, a lot of good rodeos up there towards the end of the summer. So I just kind of stayed up there, and
Awesome.
It was nice. They're all 3 hours from her house, and yeah.
There's a really great September run up there.
Oh yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Pendleton, my favorite, all-time favorite.
Heck yeah.
Pendleton's awesome.
This is Mel's world.
How frustrating, because you're a tie-down roper, how frustrating is the score at Pendleton? Because you run down.
It's not actually, the score is not frustrating. I would say it's more because at Pendleton it's a completely different rodeo because it's all pen drawn. They don't put numbers on the cattle or anything. We break all the calves in Monday morning before the rodeo starts. Everything gets run down the lane so that they know where they're going. We tie them, put a couple of ties on them, and then that's it. Then they'll sit till slack the next morning. And really, once you kind of, I would say the start's probably, for a guy that's never been there, it's probably frustrating because you're trying to figure out, gauge how far with the pipe and everything, how far you need to let your calf out. But really, it kind of just comes down to, instincts. And if you know how to read cattle and everything and you have a pretty good judge of distance, as long as you kind of keep that in mind as you're going, okay, I've got 15 feet I kind of need to have out there in front of me. You can kind of ease your horse out there. And I don't know, I think the best part is coming down the hill 9-0.
Just to explain, Pendleton is a racetrack. So it's a dirt track around a green grass. So the roping chute is off the track, and they run down the track before the calf comes out onto the grass.
Oh, so
And
it's a way different vibe than normal.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Do they get pissed that you tear up the field?
No, I don't think they care.
No. I
No.
mean,
It
probably half of them are in the rodeo.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rodeo committee does a good job of taking care of it. They replanted it last year. It was all brand new grass. So
Nice.
Sure.
yeah, it's a blast.
That's really cool.
Really fun.
Because that's a different vibe then, right?
It's so different.
Because normally you're coming straight out into just a big pen.
Yeah, you just got a dirt arena,
arena,
Reno
right?
Rodeo.
Yes, they have a pipe panel across the track, and then you run out onto this grass. And
So when you're talking about your timing, you're essentially trying to time it where you making it down into the flat, into the grass is when you're actually trying to get off.
You've got a score set out there, so and then there's a rope barrier. So if you don't let the calf have a certain head start, then you break the barrier. It's a 10-second penalty. And I can't remember. I think this. I always get Pendleton's score and Salinas' score mixed up, because Salinas is another long one, but it's like 16 or 18 feet or something is what the Pendleton score is.
Okay.
So you're giving that calf a 16-foot head start basically before you can hit that rope. And you're trying, and the thing about Pendleton, like if you don't time it just right, especially on the second go, you might as well just kiss your ass goodbye, because the calves freaking
Gone.
split the gates and they are gone. Like,
Got it.
like my second one this last year, hauled ass. Usually got a guy standing in the corner with you telling you how fast they're coming. He felt really bad because he's like, easy, he's medium. No, he was freaking gone, and he hauled ass. And my horse is really fast, thank God, but he caught him about halfway down the arena, and it's freaking huge. And the grass was really dewy that morning, and he fell on his ass end, and his back legs kind of came out from underneath him, and then he picked himself back up, and everything was good. But you don't want to be late there.
Yeah. Dom, do you have any clue what we're talking about?
The rodeo?
That's it. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so like I know that event because we've gone to a lot of rodeos. I actually just don't know the scoring side of those.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's every rodeo's got the scores are set up differently. Most of your average rodeo, like Reno Rodeo, you're probably looking at like a 2 foot under score. So basically, the score is 2 foot less whatever the box length is. So it's
okay.
You're talking about a head start.
No, I kept up with you. Mel looked at me like you don't know what the fuck.
I was seeing if you were picking up.
It took me a second. Yeah. I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, you're a CAD guy, so you're good with math stuff.
Like dimensions. Yeah. I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, like I'm not like growing up. I was always like more motors than horses and stuff. But like I grew up in that area and stuff, and we went to rodeos, and like my mom and stuff did a lot of like fair stuff. So we like went to those events. But yeah, like the scoring, I just don't know the details of the scoring side of things. So like when the event happens, I'm like, I know the overall.
Yeah, whoever's
idea.
the fastest.
Yeah.
Sure.
But like how it's scored and like how you're doing it and stuff. Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, for sure.
How'd you get into that? Actually, like horses rodeoing.
My mom, she actually rode horses when she was little. She grew up out here in Palomino Valley, up Right Hand Canyon. She did Western Pleasure. They had what was called the Pony Bob Days, which you probably heard of that. Mm-hmm. And she won she's got like silver platters and all kind of stuff from that. And so she kind of got me started with in horses. I don't think I started roping until I was like 9 or 10. And I was just watching the NFR and calf roping.
Thought it looked cool.
Yeah. My mom, I remember seeing pictures of my mom roping calves, breakaway roping, which is the women's version, basically. They don't get off and tie the calf or anything. But I was like, I want to do that. I want to be like mom roping calves. So that's how I kind of got into rodeo and calf roping. Took off from there.
I don't think that there's any better trophies than in rodeo. They're just always like
buckles,
the buckles,
spurs.
Like the plates.
Mm-hmm.
They're just cool. I don't know. Yeah, they're like shit you can hang on the wall and it just looks cool and
they're timeless.
It's got the vibe and they're timeless and it's I don't know. You always see like those kind of trophies and those events and stuff. You're like, they get some cool shit.
Yeah,
my favorite is seeing what buckles people are wearing because you get some obscure things. Yeah. I know a guy who has it's like a team bull riding competition buckle. And
interesting.
I don't even know how that works, but just imagine like 3 people on one bull at once. But
what's your take on people that wear buckles and dress that way, but they don't rodeo?
I think it's cool because they're kind of embracing that. There's a lot of guys that get I'm not gonna lie. Every year Reno Rodeo rolls around, everybody pulls out their cowboy hats and belt buckles, and like I've got my normal attire on at the store, and they're like, "You here for the rodeo?" I'm like, "Nope, I freaking live here." Like I live here. That's kind of where I'm rodeo. At. Like I can enter Reno Rodeo, and no, I'm not here just for the rodeo. But I think it's great though. I like seeing that people are like. Yellowstone has really brought like a lot of new people onto it, and it's also bringing a lot more money into pro rodeo, which is great. Yeah. So
I like the look. I just don't want to pretend like something that I'm not.
Yeah.
So like I grew up more of like the ranching side. So like we did cattle, we branded, we castrated, we did all of that. Mm-hmm. And so like if I were to, it's more of like the jeans, the hat, maybe a button-up t-shirt, but mostly just a ratty t-shirt and stuff. you know, you got boots on and stuff, but like, that's like the vibe that I always grew up in. So it always feels weird. The idea of like putting a belt buckle, like a, you know, like a nice belt buckle on. I'm like, it's just not, it's not the vibe that I grew up with. And I feel like if I put it on, I'm just like playing dress up.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't know. I don't know. I have a hard time. Like the Reno Rodeo I always have a hard time walking around a little bit there, just because it's all like the brand new boots.
Yeah.
And the brand new buckles.
Everyone
the
to
brand new
Boot Barn
cowboy.
that
Yeah.
day.
Boot Barn is like had a killing that day. Which is great. And like it's great for the sport of it and the culture of it. Like I agree with you there. Like it's great to have people come out and pay money and like support that cause. But at the same time, I'm like, it's always irked me a little bit of like, I just don't like when people are pretending like there's something they're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we talk a lot about at HAViK kind of bringing back ways of the past and that sort of thing. It's one of the things I really love about rodeo is I call it a living picture window. You're looking at something that is as close as it's going to get to how it used to actually be.
Yeah.
Sure,
Like
it's
that, I
been, right, it's turned into entertainment and a job for a lot of people. But you don't really get that in a lot of these other sports ways of life. It's really hard to find that. It's not televised. It's not something you can go see. So sure, you got your buckle bunnies. But at least
those are the ones I'm more interested in.
of course you are.
They can dress up however they want, guys, you know.
Pendleton does a good job of doing that with it, because if you'll have to look up some videos or pictures of Pendleton, but in the back, there's an entire Indian village set up with teepees, and then they actually still basically run the rodeo like they did when it first started in the 1800s, and the Indians come in and like they do tribal dance, and they do their parade of, you know, all their princesses and everything, and the chief, and everybody comes in on horseback and like full tribal regalia and everything, and it's really cool. So they and they keep it like that same kind of tradition, like they keep the tradition going, which is awesome.
I do like the vibe of a rodeo for exactly what you just talked about. It's like a simpler time. It's like people being a lot more straight with each other, and it's a lot more, it's like bullshit and stuff. And it's true like sport. I mean, the people that are in the rodeo are athletes, and it takes a lot of talent to do what they're doing, and it's entertaining too. So you saying that it's like a window into the past is actually like a really, really clean way of saying it. So maybe I need to just start looking at it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I like a person that dresses like, you know, like you, like belt buckle, I just expect that, right? You live that lifestyle, but like, and same with you, Mel, obviously. But if I had it on, I just would feel like a fucking loser, dude. A little bit just inside.
Imposter syndrome.
Huh? Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. So I do want to talk about what you do for work, because it's also super unique, and you fought for it like at a legislation level, right? So I guess kind of introduce what you actually do for work, I guess, to start, and then we'll kind of go into it a little bit more.
So I'm a equine dentist. So in layman terms, for everybody that's listening, essentially what I do is work on horses' teeth, and the reason why they need to be worked on is because horses have teeth that continually erupt into the oral cavity. So when you take them out of like a natural setting, like wild horses, they're not utilizing those teeth the way they're supposed to. So they're just eat for an hour in the morning, eat for an hour at night. And the rest of the time those teeth are sitting and they're constantly erupting into the oral cavity. So basically my job is to go in there and balance those teeth, but also kind of take it a step further and make it so that they ride better and can eat better. But I've been doing that for it's 15 years now. I'm a master certified equine dentist.
And so you did, I'm assuming, an educational side of that, right? So there's like programs and stuff for.
Yeah, it's like trade school basically. No different than being like a farrier. You go to a farrier school. It's a trade school. It's not like full on college or anything.
I mean, I think we've actually been starting to touch on that, right? Where like those trade schools are coming back, and as they should be coming back, and those jobs are becoming more and more important. So it's really, to me, trade school, college is probably better that you went to a trade school.
Oh yeah,
coming from a person that went to college.
Less student loan or less student debt.
I was fortunate that I didn't have it, but
that's good.
But but it's also one of those things. It's just like the amount of people that are graduating with something that they can use. Whereas With the trade school, there's a job tied to it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So as those teeth are like erupting in, right? So they're continually growing is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So they're like a beaver,
It's one of my
right?
favorite horse facts. Blows people's
So
minds.
like beavers are the same way, right? They have to
similar, that different type of tooth.
Okay.
So horses at like 6 to 8 years of age, if you cut the tissue and the bone away, their tooth has reached full maturity at 6 to 8 years of age. And the cheek teeth, some of them, like your ones in the middle, are going to be about that long from top to bottom, from the root to the crown.
Okay.
The surface of the crown.
Like 4.5 inches, maybe.
Probably about 3.5, 4 inches. And then as you get further in the back of the mouth, they're a little bit shorter. The very first tooth is a little bit shorter, just because obviously spatial.
Yeah.
How much room it has there. But essentially, when those horses reach full maturity, then that tooth it does what's called erupting, and it erupts into the oral cavity. So it's not necessarily growing.
Oh, okay.
It's pushing its way into the oral cavity, and horses' teeth react to pressure. And so when you have one tooth that gets longer, it starts to cause the opposing tooth to hyper-erupt because it's trying to catch up, because that other one's putting so much pressure on it as they're chewing, and eventually that tooth gets worn out, and it's either going to fall out or have to be extracted.
It's interesting that it wouldn't do it the opposite, right? If there was pressure there, that it wouldn't like, hey, we have a problem where this one's too far. It's like, no, send them all down.
Equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Those physics.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you are you prematurely correcting that proud tooth then to try to so the other ones don't erupt? Is that what the idea is?
No. So basically what I'm doing is, let's say, it's been 2 or 3 years since you had your horse's teeth done or whatever, and you got a tooth that's sticking up, say, 1/4 of an inch or a 1/2 inch. Basically what I'm going to do is go in there and remove that excess eruption off of that tooth and leave the opposing tooth. I might maybe put a tiny bit of a surface on it and kind of roll the edges under, but I don't really want to grind that tooth away because it's already been getting worn away. So I'm just balancing those pressures out between all of them. Like if you could take and draw on a whiteboard, like just an S curve like that, and you take off the top of that S there and then this part of the S, and you make a straight line between all of them.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm trying to do to the teeth.
Got it.
And then I'm taking and cutting the front teeth, the incisors. I'll cut those down or burr those down to keep everything in contact and good occlusion, so that way that horse can eat properly and digest its food properly.
Wild.
Wait, I'm so interested how you, what drew you to this job, because it is a job that, most people have probably never heard of. Maybe if you're in the rodeo space or whatever, but,
Sure.
I mean, what makes you want to work on a horse's teeth?
Well, I started out as a farrier, and farrier work is very hard on your back because you're bent over all day underneath horses, and I mean it can be dangerous because you can get kicked and drug under horses,
Or just peed on.
or just peed on.
It's also physical.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Yeah, I've
physical
had
job.
nails jerked through my knee before. It's not very fun. So, but I'm very grateful that I did learn that skill because I use it for my own horses and my girlfriend's horses. But I was getting ready to move to Colorado, and was trying to figure out if I wanted to go to school or if I wanted to go to a trade school. And my mom had found an article in the Western Horseman magazine about Randy Rittinger, who's a really good friend of mine now and the owner of the school that I went to. And I went ahead and looked up the school website, watched a YouTube video on it, and I was like, well, that's pretty cool. It's only 8 hours from where I was living at in Colorado, and thought it would be at least worth a try to go check out the first class. It was something that would keep me standing up rather than bent over, and I could have set my own schedule and use rodeo with it too, because I could take my instruments with me and travel around and do it. And I went to that first class and pretty much fell in love with it. But also with that, like you were talking about with the legislation stuff, I had no idea. When I first started, Randy, literally the first day of class, he was asking where everybody was from. And I told him, I was like, oh, Reno, Nevada. And he's like, do you want your money back? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, you do know it's a felony to do dentistry in Nevada, right? And I was like, I had no idea. I was like, I knew it was taboo, but
I thought it was frowned upon.
yeah, I was
without
like,
a
I knew it was frowned
veterinary-
upon, but I didn't know it was a felony. He's like, yeah, it's felony and jail time. So if you want your money back, I'll give you your money back. And for whatever reason, I think it's a God thing, just kind of drew me to it. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep up with it. And,
Yeah.
But
well, there's more than Nevada to start. And then obviously, then you went down this path of you're going to just try to solve that problem. So instead of just like turning tide and just like walking away from it and just being like, fuck it. You just like, oh no, like why is it not legal? And then you went after it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so talk about some of that.
What started all that was it was actually a guy that lived out here in the valley. And I knew that like changing the law was kind of going to be something that I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to go about it.
And the law was it that you could only practice dentistry if you had a veterinary license?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was at the time it used to be written as it was a category D felony. $2,000 fine per offense and up to 1 year in jail.
So for what reason though? Like specifically dentistry? Or was it like
it's for practicing vet medicine. So the way the Nevada Vet Board defined it was that dentistry is under the purview of the vet board. Even though for hundreds of years it's been considered an act of animal husbandry. Ranchers have taken care of their own animals for a long time. But anyways, that guy, I had worked on his horses for him. They were really good friends of ours. And he had told me, he's like, oh, he's like, fuck these vets. I don't like, I'll do whatever. He's like, I'll help you change the law, whatever. He's like, I'll never use a vet ever again, blah, blah, blah. Well, I was flagging high school rodeos, and just like freaking being a ref for a little league deal or whatever, the parents always get pissed off at you for something.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't get faced up in the team roping like the rules say, and I didn't drop a flag on them, and they ran out of time. They ran over the time limit. Well, he was pissed off, and he sent his daughter in there with the video and everything, and I was like, it's done. It's over. I made the call. Like, we don't have instant replay in rodeo, okay?
Yeah.
It is what it is. Here's why I did what I did, and I sent her on her way. Well, then he continued to harass me for the next little bit, and I finally had enough, and he tried to fight me at a rodeo, and so then I disqualified his daughter. And anyways, long story short,
Rodeo parents are tough. They're tough.
Freaking nuts. I got a letter in the mail from the vet board, and attached to it was a complaint from him.
Oh, God.
And I was scared shitless. I was like, great, this is like the end of everything.
Yeah.
And I called the vet board. I cooperated with everything. I told him, I was like, yep, I worked on his horses. And I was like, as a matter of fact, he told me he didn't never use a vet ever again. And I was like, that's straight from his mouth. And I was telling that to Dr. Damani at Comstock Large Animal Hospital, right to his face. I was like, he said he does not want to use a vet, and he would do whatever to help me change the law. And they ended up hitting me with a $500 fine and a cease and desist. And that was kind of like the catalyst that got me started on the whole legislative journey. Because then I got in touch with Ira Hansen, who's our district senator. Great family, good people. And he kind of got me started, got the ball rolling on getting bills introduced and stuff. Sure.
I mean, that's a pretty wild undertaking for somebody that, one, is not in that world, right? Like the whole political world is a whole zoo in itself, right? It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And you're fighting essentially the veterinary board, which is, I'd imagine, got some power behind it, some oomph behind it. Like, what was the skills that you had to learn? What was the things that I think helped you kind of turn that tide and get, I mean, kind of where are you at now, I guess, with the legislation? And then what skills did you use to get to where you're at?
So I guess I'll start with the skills. Kind of starting it, because I'm kind of not a confrontational person. I hate confrontation. It's just, from when I was younger, confrontation was no good. Like, I just learned to kind of just shut off confrontation at all possible. And so having to go in, first it started with, we tried the legislative deal, and then the original senator that sponsored it, she was like, hey, we're going to suggest you try to work with the vet board. And so it started off with me having to go to vet board meetings, and that was really intimidating, because you're talking to people who want you to have absolutely nothing to do with dentistry.
Yeah, they're looking at you like, why the fuck are you here?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I can still remember, like, my freaking heart would be beating out of my chest every time I'd go to a vet board meeting. And, but I had to learn how to confront these people and talk to them in like a professional and respectful manner, because I'm trying to make a case for why I should be able to work in the state of Nevada. And they eventually conceded and they changed some things, but their attorney literally sat right in front of us and said, look, we're just trying to make it look good for the legislature. We don't actually have to work with these guys. So it's no longer a felony. I can get licensed here, but I have to find a vet that'll sign an affidavit that says they'll watch me from start to finish, and no vet wants to take on that responsibility.
Yeah.
So I still don't work here essentially because of that. And then that led me to the legislative process, where 2019 was the furthest year, the year we got the furthest. We got out of the Senate unanimously and over to the Assembly side, where it eventually died. But having to go, and then I spent freaking several years after that, even going to the Capitol. I would go to the Capitol like every other day, but I just had to, a lot of it I tackled on my own, and then some of it was I had a mentor that is a really good friend of mine in Texas who handled the law change in Texas. He's very savvy, very professional. He spoke at Congress about the dentistry stuff. He helped me with a lot of it, and then a lot of it I learned from a lobbyist, and then kind of as I went through my senator and everything. So I kind of had to learn how to navigate the Nellis website and how to read Nevada revised statutes and how to use those to my benefit and everything. Like, I almost had to kind of become my own attorney.
Yeah.
And the more I did it, the more I repeated it, and the more I kind of got out of my comfort zone, and the more I started to like it, actually. And going into, like, it was really cool to go to the Capitol and go knock on people's doors, and like people would stop me, lobbyists or legislators, and they'd be like, "You're that guy here for the dental bill, right?" Because I'd walk around with a horse skull in my hand. And they're like, they thought it was the coolest thing ever. And it was neat getting to talk to all the legislators, because they have like a very finite amount of time to talk to you. So you might get like 5 minutes when you get a meeting with them. And I had to learn how to like breathe through things and just be like, okay, here's my points.
Yeah.
Try and sell it to them,
Elevator
and then go,
pitch.
thank you for your time.
Yeah.
And that's it. And it was good, because the more I did it, the more I built that confidence up and was able to, like, you know, get in front of a microphone in front of all these legislators and like talk to them in a calm, respectful manner and be able to get my point across.
There probably isn't a lot of case law to point to on that particular, right? That particular law, that particular issue. Because in a lot of ways, that's what case law will drive changes, you know, when it's specifically interpreted a certain way by the court. But I'd imagine there probably isn't much.
There's the only ones I know of, I believe there was one in Arizona where it was sports massage equine massage therapists, basically fighting the same deal.
Yeah, I'm certified as a
So
equine
you know all about
body
that
worker.
then. Oh yeah.
So
Very similar.
Is that allowed in the state of Nevada?
Massage is.
Because it's outside of the veterinary.
No,
board.
you cannot do anything though, like rehab. Anything that would.
So you're just there to touch them. You're not there to
They
fix
call it.
anything.
They call it. I went to pony petting class, is what I did. No, but yeah, it's really similar, where you either have to have your DVM, or in Nevada you can be a human PT.
Right.
But even if you're a human PT, you have to work under direct supervision of a veterinarian. So yeah, it's another kind of similar thing where,
because there's like chiropractic work that you can do on horses too, but that I'm sure
that's
falls.
the same. So no chiropractic, no rehab, unless you have those.
They have basically
certifications.
I'm surprised you're allowed to ride the horse.
I know. Well, you look
even
at
after
them funny.
Yeah.
They tried a few years ago. I think it was 21, maybe. It was right after all the COVID bullshit. So you couldn't go testify in person. But my senator had reached out to me and he said, hey, take a look at this bill and tell me what you think. So I read through it, and the vet board was trying to get the legislature to put into statute this wish list of bullshit that basically was going to outlaw any kind of like red light therapy, Accuscope, MagnaWave, like any electromagnetic stuff. It was gonna make my mom, who's a horse trainer, it was gonna make her a criminal for taking in a client's horse and being like, oh yeah, I'll go ahead and like follow the vet's orders on the rehab for this horse and wrap the leg and everything. It was gonna make her a criminal even. And So he was like, work your magic. And I jumped on Facebook and I did videos. I testified. I did all this stuff. And the guy that was carrying the bill in that committee, he was like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and table it. And I was like,
yeah,
basically,
nice. Well,
I was like, take that.
good work.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure. Hey, I hate to interrupt my own podcast with a HAViK ad, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you head over to spreadhavik.com, you can see all the different merch and gear that we're currently carrying. While you're there, sign up for HAViK Society and get email notifications on new drops, what we're doing with the community, and hunting, fishing, homesteading know-how, and more. Again, spreadhavik.com to get your gear today. Now, back to the podcast.
So
Is there, like, with what you do on the dentistry part, is that something that's a standard veterinary practice that you can get from a normal veterinarian? Or is it something that, like, you can't even get from them, but they're also bogarting people from doing it in the first place?
So that's kind of like a two-part question because, and it's also like the biggest farce that the vet boards like to throw out there. Every area I go to is a little bit different. It pisses me off to no end. Like, I take pictures of the teeth and everything, especially when somebody goes, oh yeah, the vet did it a month ago. Because, like, a vet has to learn so much. I'm not trying to put them down or anything, but they have to learn so much. It's like, it would be like taking your kid to the general practitioner to have his teeth cleaned or a cavity looked at. Like, you don't do that. You go to the dentist. They have to learn so much. Like, a lot of vets that I've talked to, it's anywhere from 6 to 12 hours of education on the teeth, and then that's it. Basically, when you consider the 8 years that they've spent in school, it is like blinking your eyes when it comes to what they spent on dentistry.
And how many hours was your program? Not to sidetrack you.
I have
Roughly
290 is what it took to graduate. And then I had to work on 100 live animals before I was allowed to graduate. And then I had to take a practical exam on 6 head where I had to score an average of 85% on every single horse, graded in 20 different areas on a scale of 1 to 5. So plus a written exam. And then plus I've done stuff on top of that through the IAED and everything, and Association of Equine Dentists, International Association of Equine Dentists. But every area is different. Like, there's some vets that go, oh yeah, I love to do dentistry, and they'll go ahead and do it. They shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Like, very rarely do I come across vets work where I'm like, yeah, that's good. I mean, it maybe 1 in 10, if that. And even then, it's still not to the level that it could be. And then you got places like where I was just at. There's a couple vets over there that claim that they love to do dentistry, and they do it all right-handed. So I go to work on the horse, and they've changed the molar table angles over here to be flatter, and they've changed them to be steeper over here. So now this horse has 2 different molar table angles, and it can't even chew or let alone ride correctly without having a bunch of issues. And then you have the vets that just do the basic where they just file some sharp points off and that's it. And these guys are charging anywhere from, there's some vets up in Oregon that charge $750 to get your horse floated, and they spend 15 minutes on it, and they don't fix anything. They put a Band-Aid on it. Yeah. Like, it might make it a little bit better. Getting rid of sharp points is going to help them eat a little bit better because they can move their jaw a little bit further over to grind that food up. But for the most part, it's like we're literally just slapping a Band-Aid on it, and that's it. And then they turn around and they go, well, you can't use a dentist because they're not a vet. And then you got the other ones too, like in the Bay or Middletown in November. This poor horse was having neurological problems, neck issues. She had the chiropractor out. She'd done everything. Took the horse to the vet 3 or 4 months before I got there and asked him if the teeth needed to be done. He said, oh, no, they're good. When I opened the mouth, I literally shined my light in there and I said, holy shit. And she's like, what? And I was like, you need to come see this. I mean, he had hooks that big in the front that were digging into the gum tissue, sores all in his cheeks. Oh. It was absolutely atrocious.
And you wonder why they're acting up.
Yeah, and you want to know why they're having issues. And this is an expensive horse. Like, this horse does, they do Western Pleasure, and like they're all like trimmed up and slicked out and look nice. They take them clear back to Oklahoma to show them and everything, and so.
I mean, horses alone are a huge investment. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of money goes into horses.
I want to know. Okay, so we've talked about you went into this kind of obscure profession, and then you had to fight to keep it. Where do you think that perseverance comes from?
I honestly, I think probably a lot has to do with my mom, because there was a lot of times when I was younger where I wanted to quit Pop Warner, and she was like, "Nope, you said you were wanted to do it, so now you're gonna finish it." Same thing. I wrestled my freshman year. I would say a lot of it comes from that too. I was always like the smallest in my family and just in with my friends in general. Like I wrestled my freshman year. I had to get a doctor's release because I weighed 83 pounds and only had 2.9% body fat. And I wanted to wrestle 103s, but the kid that was wrestling 103s wanted to be a state champion, even though he couldn't hardly hold 103s. So I had to challenge him for that weight class every weekend. Well, I would lose because he'd been wrestling all his life and I hadn't. So I had to wrestle 112s at 83 pounds. And I got the freaking shit kicked out of me every weekend. But I made sure, I was drinking weight gainer shakes. I was lifting weights. I was doing everything I could. Like, I put out 110% at practices, and I did everything I could to, try and not get pinned on the mat. I'd say that's probably where it really started, and it kind of carried on from there, and it was cool because, towards the end of the season, I ended up making it to state. I got third at Northern 3A Regionals, and I still had to wrestle 112s at state. And I think I won one match and then lost on the consolation side. And the coaches and the kid were super awesome. They were like, "Hey, we hope you wrestle next year because you've made a lot of improvement." And it just carried over from there. Same thing with calf roping. I remember my stepdad told me, he's like, "You're not calf roping your freshman year," because I only weighed 83 pounds and the calves weighed twice my weight. And I'm glad he said that because it put a little bit of a fire in me. I'm like, "You're not going to tell me what I can and can't do."
Yeah. So so we did CrossFit together. We've actually done some competitions alongside each other and against each other. We've talked about this with our buddy Ryan, that there's a difference between, there's cowboy, rancher tough, right? And then there's other kinds of tough. And the guys that just lifting hay bales every day, or just the lifestyle that you grew up with, that mindset, it's hard to beat.
Yeah.
There's people that they're like, "Man, that's twice my weight, but it's a competition, or I got to do it. It's, I got to stack these bales of hay or whatever." And you just do it. It's wild, the difference. And so I've seen that mindset just through CrossFit of you being like, it lit a fire underneath me. I'm like, I've seen that fire actually when we've been doing competitions. It's worse when I'm against you, not on the team. But yeah, it's always you see guys, man, you look at him like, man, they shouldn't be able to lift that, or I don't understand how he runs that hard or does X, Y, and Z. It's all mental for the most part.
Yeah, 100%.
And I've definitely seen that come out, in the times that we've been around each other. And are you still doing a lot of CrossFit?
I was freaking going like crazy because I tore my ACL and meniscus the first part of 24.
Okay.
And I was getting ready to go rodeo pretty hard, and so that was pretty devastating. I was like, fuck it, I'm coming back stronger. So I was actually here in the valley. I was crutching a mile as fast as I could after surgery, just to keep my mind going. I was like, screw it, my upper body's going to be strong. I'm going to keep everything strong.
Yeah. Since
I can't do anything with my leg. And I was doing pretty good. I was keeping up with everything until April last year. And then rodeo season hit, and I was trying to rodeo on the weekends and float teeth on the weekdays and still ride my horses and still practice. And it kind of went by the wayside. So I just started getting back into it again the first part of January. And because I'm so stubborn and my ego gets in the way, the first class back at 1910 CrossFit in Pendleton, I was like, I'm just going to go in and I'll scale it. Well, I only scaled the reps.
Scale it.
I did not scale it. I scaled the reps from 25 each movement to 20 each movement, and I went unbroken on the wall balls. And then I paid for it. I paid for it for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm trying to make myself, because I'm realizing, I went for a 3-mile run today before I came and did the podcast because I didn't go to the gym. but I'm realizing I'll be 37 this year. Last year, it was easy for me to go, man, it's like my body's sore from working on horses all day and then trying to practice and rope calves and go to the rodeos, and like my body just hurts. I'm realizing, it seemed like it was hard to get a workout then.
Yeah.
And in reality, it's like it's harder to get started back up, and
it hurts worse when you start back
way
up.
worse. Like I thought it was difficult to keep going. It was actually the easier thing to keep going, is what I'm trying to say.
Dude, momentum's a bitch.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like you've probably been there. I've been there.
I'm there right now, honestly. I mean, so I've been doing a decent job of working out during the week, but like my running, like my cardio is dog shit.
Mine too.
And and it was like one of those things, like I got into jiu-jitsu last year, and that like shot my cardio through the roof. And then I ended up leaving my job and then started working on my own, and now I don't do that anymore. So like my cardio has gone to shit again. Like I lift every single day, but like it's not the same. And you do anything like wall balls or a CrossFit workout, it just beats you up. But then I've also figured out that like you think you feel bad and you're tired when you're like doing that stuff, but when you're not like actively moving every single day or working out, you feel way worse. Like as a person, you're lethargic.
Do you notice the difference in your roping or in your, even in working? If you're constantly working out, are you feeling better?
Yeah, basis? I feel like my body moves better, especially after knee surgery, because this leg likes to get really stiff after knee surgery. So if I'm doing, like yesterday, I did walking lunges and stuff. So if I'm doing that, kind of keeping those muscles moving and keeping them strong and doing isolated stuff like that, I feel like I move a lot better. And I definitely noticed it last year. I mean, cattle prices are through the roof, so they're having to, like, getting stock for the rodeo is becoming difficult. So they're having to make calves last longer.
Yeah.
So the rule book says, the top end of the calves can't weigh more than 300 pounds. Well, there's been a few rodeos I've gone to where they're pushing that 300-pound mark.
I bet.
And for a littler guy like me, I need to be able to run in there really aggressively. And a lot of it's leverage. But I did notice there were a couple times where, like, I still got them flanked, but it just took me a split second longer. Whereas the year before surgery, like, it was no problem. I could run in there and flank him because I had that strength built up.
Did you do quad tendon repair or something else?
No, it was cadaver.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Well, the quad tendon repair is just, it's super common.
Because isn't it like that one's like the bigger one, right? Where that one's supposed to be like bulletproof? Or is the cadaver one better?
I think it just depends.
Depends on your doctor too, I think. Because used Dr. Kickbush, who lives out here.
Yeah.
He works at Great Basin Orthopedic. He's very savvy with rodeo injuries.
Yeah, he's one of the rodeo guys.
Yeah, he's like one of the leading surgeons for rodeo stuff. So, and I high school rodeoed with his daughter, so a good personal connection there. But he had told, because I asked him, I had some buddies that were like, "Oh, make sure you do the patella or the quad or whatever. Like, tell your doctor you want to do that." And I was like, "Listen, he's the one that paid all the money to go to school. He makes the big bucks. I'm gonna do whatever he tells me to do." And so I asked him about it, and he goes, "Cadaver's great." He's like, it's a good success rate. He's like, it's not like it used to be. There's no rejection or anything like that. You'll be fine.
That's awesome.
And he said faster healing time as well.
Yeah, because then you're not
and it
building
ends up
back.
being stronger than your original one. So.
Yeah, you're not injuring somewhere else essentially to do it.
Yep.
So obviously throughout your career and your adulthood, you've always been driving to do something new or better yourself. And what are you working on now? Like, so you went to the dentistry, and then you went to the legislation side, which I'm assuming you're still involved in that.
Yep.
But like, what's the thing that's like driving Zach day to day?
Honestly, the thing I've really been into lately is I recently started getting paid for my stuff on Facebook. My Instagram account has grown quite a bit.
Dude, it's hilarious.
Turning into an influencer. Yeah.
It's super funny.
But there's the cool part is, like, for the longest time, I had my blog that I did and my podcast that I started when I was injured, and like I couldn't ever get anybody to come. Like, it was a small group of people that would like actually read the stuff and share it or like listen to the podcast. And what I found is like the more that I do this kind of comedic side, the more it brings people to the podcast and the blog. And like I've had some rodeo announcers even bring it up, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And like Toppenish last year, I mean, the guy went on during my whole run about my blog and how I came back from an injury and this and that. And it was like the coolest thing ever. So I really want to like expand on that, and I want to be better about posting more consistently with, you know, good content that brings people to the podcast. I want to be better about, I'm freaking terrible about the podcast. I've done like 5 episodes in the last year and a half, which is ridiculous. Yeah. But I want to be more consistent about that. I've got ideas in my head that like I've put to paper, and now I just need to make happen. And so I really want to grow that podcast and grow. There's like in rodeo, there's really not this, nobody ever talks about like the mental side of things. And like I have the skill to do what it takes to rodeo professionally. But the one thing that's held me back is the mental part of it. Like I have beat myself in the arena more times than any other guy has because I get nervous or I doubt myself, or I'm like, I got to go prove myself. Like, so, and nobody ever talks about that. And so I want to use that podcast to like, I've realized that the stuff that I went through as a kid, childhood trauma and stuff, all that baggage, how I carried it on into the rodeo arena. And I want to expand more on that and like interview other professional rodeo athletes and be like, hey, you know, what have you struggled with mentally? Like, how did you overcome it and stuff like that? And you know him, Tyson Durfee.
Yep.
It was really cool. Last year at Sisters, I tied 8.7 is my fastest recorded time. And Tyson comes out right after me, and he ties an 8.7, and he's sitting right next to me, and he high-fives me. He's like, good run, man. And I was like, hell yeah. And he's like an idol of mine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I asked him, I was like, hey, you want to jump on my podcast sometime? And he was like, hell yeah. He's like, just get with me and we'll do it. And, and he's really big on the mental stuff. Like, that's how he's built his following.
He started really sharing a lot of that, too.
Just on, like, the preparedness of it, on, like, how he gets himself into, like, that competition mode.
Yeah, peak performance state type stuff. Mm-hmm. But nobody in the rodeo, like, I'd want to write a book about it and everything. Just nobody talks about any kind of, like, mental, like depression or anxiety, childhood trauma. Like, it's just not a thing because you're a cowboy, right? Yeah. You're supposed to be tough. So,
yeah, I think it's starting to break through in other sports, and you know, sports psychologists are really becoming a thing. But in the Western world, it's still really taboo, I think, because you are tough and you do just go out and buck the hay and do whatever you need to do to get your job done. And so to turn around and say, hey, sometimes I struggle getting that job done in my head. And I think it's tough.
That picture of a cowboy is that guy that's alone and is just working in the rain, and he's
calf
good
over the front of the saddle. Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's the guy. Like, what? Like, why do I need to go talk to him? Yeah, the Marlboro. Yeah, and
well, there's a reason he's alone. No, I'm just kidding.
What do you want to talk about, Mel?
For sure.
It's actually something that's come up on this podcast a lot already, is that mental health side on, like, we've been talking to a lot of first responders, and it's the same exact thing, right? These are police officers and firemen. They're supposed to be these tough guys, and they're just dealing with shit. And a lot of their trauma is from their job, but they're not really, it's like, you know, it's frowned upon, it's taboo to talk about it, but it's not. And so, you know, that's been a big theme already. And that's kind of why we've been doing that first responder of the month thing. And it's interesting to see as we have these conversations that it comes up in other areas, right? And it's like, everybody just needs to talk about it. And we also need, like, more comedy. Yeah. So I think that's also why your Instagram is doing so well, and that comedy that you're doing is so well. It's because it's like, man, like, we need to just laugh more. Like, we just need to have the conversation, have things that we relate to. So, like, it's doing really well in that rodeo world because your comedy is very much related to that world, and it's hilarious. And so you're going to end up kind of getting that culture built around it. So
I did go back through your Instagram a little bit.
Stalker, dude.
But what I like is you do this combination of comedy and then more of a serious post. And one of the ones you were talking about being present and staying more present. And do you have any tricks that kind of keep you in the moment so that you're not doing that anxiety, what's going to happen, staying in that moment, staying more present?
Yeah. And I feel like, especially nowadays, you know, with all the shit going on Facebook and everything, and just politicians and politics and everything else.
There's a lot of trash.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash, and it's really easy. And I feel like too, as you get older, it's easy to get anxiety about the future, or about stuff that's going to happen or whatever. But rodeo is like where I really rodeo and hunting. I went on a solo hunt where it really helped me realize, you know, the power of what being in a moment is like, when you can just quiet all the thoughts in your head and everything. And like when I'm at a rodeo, if I start to get kind of nervous or whatever, I totally take my mind off of whatever it is that I'm about to do. And I just focus on other things. Like I listen to the announcer talking, or I'm like, you know, I'll look at a color and I'll find all those different colors, or I'll listen, like just taking in the sounds. And I've even taken and I'll like rub my fingers together or something. I've done that at Pendleton if I'm getting real nervous, and I'll just rub my fingers and I'll just focus on that, like focusing on something that just kind of stops you in your tracks. And like I said, hunting too, like I've really noticed it hunting, because, you know, I feel like hunting is, for a lot of people, it's like your chance to just kind of get away and
it's a reset.
Yeah, it's a reset. Cut all the wires and be away from all the bullshit.
But you ironically do exactly what you just talked about, which you start seeing the little things.
Yeah.
Right? 100%. You'll be sitting there and it's 2:00 in the afternoon. Maybe you have some deer bedded down and you're like watching a bird. Right? And you're just like watching this bird work or something, or like a chipmunk or something. And you really end up kind of in this weird little like isolated environment. You're just aware of everything that's around you and your surroundings, and you're totally content, which is being a part of it in that moment. And so it's interesting because I've never actually connected those two, because I've competed a lot and I've gotten nervous a lot. And mine was always to like go to sleep. Really? I went to sleep in my race car so many times. You have like the Hans device and stuff, and I would just be like slacked up, just completely asleep in line. And everybody's starting their engines, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And my dad used to get mad at me because like the first 2-3 laps, I was shit because I was waking up.
Yeah,
I was asleep 10 minutes ago. And so I did the opposite, where I'd like try to just turn everything off. Being in that moment and being present, I'm like, man, I kind of want to go back and race silly, and just to try that strategy. I think that's a really cool. I think that's really cool advice.
Yeah.
And it makes you more present.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, like tearing my knee was a really good lesson for me, because I would get so nervous and worked up about stuff. And then I was like, I thought I was perfectly healthy. I was doing CrossFit every day. Everything was good. And then all of a sudden my knee goes to shit, and just out of the, you know, like total freak deal.
Total pause.
And then I was like, oh, wow, okay, all this stuff can just be taken away like that. So, and it was really nice. Like all last year when I kind of started getting back into rodeo, it was funny because like really the nerves weren't there. I was like, this is easy.
Were you just more appreciative of being like the fact that you were just back?
Yeah, I was just happy to be back, because I was so miserable not being able to do it. I was like, God, I love this. I was like, I love listening to the announcer. Like I love hearing the crowd and hearing all this stuff and doing all this stuff, and like the sights and the smells, and just taking in, like I actually sat and watched a few rodeo performances, and because
it's been a long time since you did that.
Yeah. I don't normally, I'm like, do my event, go back to the trailer. So
it's interesting that a lot of people that compete do that, right? They're there just to compete, and then they leave. And you're like, man, like everybody there loves the sport, right? Like you love the rodeo. But when you're there and you're competing, you end up getting so infatuated with yourself and how you're doing that you're just like out. Because I did the same thing again with racing. We'd race. I couldn't tell you very many races that I actually went and actually watched somebody else race, unless it was like my competitors directly going out there and like watching what they're doing, or stuff, but like some other class just to watch some kids race or something, or some kids, younger guys doing the rodeo, just to enjoy watching it. Yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's that being more present thing.
Yeah.
I think that's also something that's just missing nowadays. Just being
I mean,
present with it.
Yep.
we're all buried in our phones. What's the attention span of a kid anymore?
Oh,
Like 15 seconds. I got a kid
Maybe.
that'll come work for me every now and then. He lives here, and he pisses me off because I'll be like record, hold the head straight. 5 seconds later, he's gawking off at something, and I'm like, hey, pay attention. I was like, you're on your phone too much, and it's killing your attention span.
Dude,
but I
I'm
can't
just-
imagine
yeah.
like how it just, I don't know. And I'm one to talk because I freaking sometimes I get into my phone and it's so stupid. I get caught up, but
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I was literally talking to Keaton today about it, where like, I'm like, I hate Instagram. I hate it so much. I hate that I have to have it for HAViK. Just to be very blunt about it. Like, I hate it so much because like I end up finding myself that I try to go on there and just like, okay, just do a post. We're trying to like grow the business. And then I'm like, fucking 10 minutes later, I'm scrolling. And I'm like, God.
and you haven't
damn
posted yet.
And I haven't posted yet. And it's the truth. And it's like this weird fucking catch. Like one of
like
the
a
most
drug.
genius in drugs to ever be
Yep.
invented
Yep, it's
is
literally
the
like
doom
a drug.
scrolling garbage. And so like I can't fault kids. It's not their fault. It's not like they're choosing that fucking life.
Right.
We didn't even have it. And I'm just as addicted as
Yeah.
they are to it. And like I didn't have Instagram until I started back up this business. And then I was like, all right, like I gotta have it. I
Yeah.
fucking hate that I have it. It's not healthy for that mindset, because then you're looking for that instant gratification. You have to have something like keeping your attention span.
Mhm.
To your point, like they can't just stand there and just do the job. They're like, what's gonna entertain me while I'm doing this thing?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing with my hands? And I don't know, man. Sorry, that was just a rant from me, just being upset about the fact that I'm just
It's
as
not
guilty
the first
of
time
it.
we've ranted about social media, and I think it won't be the last.
It's not the last. It's the
His long story short.
short story long.
Long story
short.
long.
Ugh, yeah.
I'm really, really good at making a short story very long.
I can do the same thing.
And Lindsay's a huge fan of it. So
I'm sure she's like, yes, please tell me another story.
well, Zach, like I said, I'm super appreciative of you jumping on here. Is there any way that people can support the work that you're doing for the dentistry side of things? Like, is there stuff that people can go out there and like kind of help, lobby for you or sign things? Are you guys actively working on anything? I know that you guys are it sounds like you're not actively really pushing really hard right now on it, but how can people kind of support that cause?
I would say probably the biggest thing they could do is, I mean, if you do have horses, and because it does affect you, like right now we're not actively pursuing anything, so there's really not a whole lot you can do. I mean, if somebody in the audience does have a connection to a legislator or whatever, I mean, it's certainly something that you can bring up as one of their constituents and just say, hey, like, I deserve the right to choose who provides services for my animal. And especially now when we have such a great vet shortage, like it's becoming really hard to get any work done for your horse. Having more options and more choices is huge, but they can learn a lot more about a lot of that stuff too by following the International Association of Equine Dentistry on Facebook, and going to their website, iadonline.com. They'll periodically post legislative stuff. But right now it's kind of quiet. I would say the biggest thing is, talking to your legislators. If you have that connection, putting that bug in their ear to try and get some change going.
So you also you mentioned your blog, Instagram, your Facebook. Like, how do people find you?
So the blog is theunbroken.com, and it's spelled just like it is without the E on the broken part. So
Okay.
UNBROKN, because the other one was taken.
The sons of bitches.
Yeah, sons of bitches. And then No More Mr. Nice Guy podcast is on Spotify. Same name on Instagram. And then Instagram and Facebook's just under my name, Zach Rhodes, ZACHRHODES. You can find me on both those. Same thing with TikTok as well.
Well, keep up the work, man. I'm really stoked to see you. I really appreciate you jumping on.
Before we go, we have to ask you our HAViK question. What is one thing you think every man or woman should know how to do?
I'm going to go ahead and hit the men with this one because I don't think I should tell women what to do.
That's probably, dude. I feel
That's
like
the best answer you could have given.
That was
You
awesome.
might have answered the question with that answer.
Seriously.
Man, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you could,
Don't tell them what to do.
yeah, I can just picture my girlfriend reaching through the microphone and grabbing my throat if I tell a woman what to do. No, I'm kidding. I think for men, I think it's because this has been like a really big thing for me in kind of rediscovering masculinity and everything, but it's learning how to take extreme ownership, you know, for your circumstances and, you know, whatever's happened in your life, and learning how to protect and provide and lead, not most importantly yourself, so that you can do that for a significant other, because I think that's probably one of the greatest skill sets I learned was learning, I would say extreme ownership is the biggest thing. You know, taking responsibility and learning that I can change my surroundings and change my trajectory. And that's ultimately, I mean...
So that putting your mask on before you help others kind of around you kind of mentality, right?
Yeah, and ultimately it's, I mean, the girl that I have now is absolutely wonderful. I'm probably going to marry her one day, and had I not learned how to do this stuff, I don't think I would have been able to meet her. So
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And I think it's something that even people that have it figured out obviously relapse and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely one that trying to be better with my perspective recently and stuff, and like telling yourself like where you were 3 years ago, you'd be stoked at where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, like you can also still fix yourself on like the little things that you need to fix. So
Absolutely.
it's a super great answer. And I think it's something that we can all work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can apply it to everything. I mean, when you take extreme ownership, it can, I mean, you're hungry, go out and shoot a buck.
Yeah.
And you take ownership for being hungry. Like,
Yeah.
it can apply to literally
If you have a
anything
tag and
in
it's
your
like-
life. Yeah, as long as you have a tag. I mean, you don't want to go, you don't want to go poach it. Maybe go fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you bought a fishing line. I was waiting for it out of all space. Yeah.
Yeah, you're in charge of yourself, your
Mhm.
destiny.
Yeah, don't rely on other
Yeah.
people.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely like one of the biggest parts of HAViK right now is we're trying to show that if you do have to go to the grocery store, you should understand where that food comes from.
Yeah.
And if you have the opportunity to harvest yourself or grow something yourself or make something yourself, you should,
Mm-hmm.
because then you have a better understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
And teaching the next generation that they have the ability to take life into their own hands and provide for themselves is really important too.
Absolutely.
And that kind of goes with, I guess, you can take your own life into your own hands and fix yourself or whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
What was that little snark?
It's just laughing at you trying to figure out how to word it
I
in
got
your
it.
head.
Don't worry about it, Dom. We need to take the mic away from her.
She was so quiet today.
Yeah, she did. She had one little question.
Yeah.
She did good.
You guys did good.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. I really
Thank
appreciate you,
Yeah.
man.
Appreciate
Thank you
you
so
guys.
much.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in and surviving another hour of our nonsense.
Seriously, if you loved it, hit subscribe, follow, and leave us a review.
And if you hated it, still leave a review. We need validation, good or bad.
And don't forget to check us out on Instagram @SpreadHAViK for behind the scenes madness, terrible ideas, and moments where we actually get it right.
And make sure you sign up for HAViK Society, where we're dropping new episodes and other stuff that makes us sound way cooler than we actually are.
Oh, and tell a friend or an enemy. Seriously, make them listen. If they hate it, just blame us.
We've got some seriously great guests lined up, so buckle up. It's going to be a ride.
Until next time, stay curious, stay uncomfortable,
And keep spreading HAViK.